One of the reasons I never debate MAGA in my life is because they're incapable of growing or listening or admitting that maybe their point of view isn't the only way. How many of them after the election were still angry and upset and yelling? See, because it's very similar to somebody, let's use somebody that has a drinking problem, okay? It doesn't matter how much you drink, you always need more. And especially with the MAGA men, this toxic masculinity, it's never enough outrage. They have to win everything. They view second place or third place or fourth place as losers. And that's part of the reason we got a lot of toxic masculinity in this country. Go look at a lot of the dads in Little League or football, how they're yelling at the umpires. That's not a strike, that was a ball. No way, that was a catch. No, we should have won. That call was wrong. For a lot of immature MAGA men, they only view winning as a measure of success, and they don't know how to fail. I'll give you an example of my own. My son didn't make the baseball team. He was devastated. And I asked him, so is this the end of your baseball career? He said, no. And he worked twice as hard in the off season. And you know what he did? He was the designated hitter this year on his team. He made the team the following year. And he was the most improved player after being cut. See, my son learned how to fail. And as a dad, when I speak to my son's baseball coach, I didn't ask him where he bats, how he's doing, is he moving up or down the batting order? I don't care about that. I cared about one thing. Is my kid the hardest working kid on your team? That's all I cared about. And his coach said yes. Now what happens after that? That's up to him. That's his journey. That's his path to choose. But enough men don't do that. Why isn't he winning? Why isn't he batting more? Well, because he hasn't earned it. Let him fail. Let your kids fail. Admitting that you're wrong isn't weakness. Admitting that, hey, I didn't look at it from that point of view. You know what? Maybe I am in a cult. You know what? I didn't think about that. Maybe I shouldn't tell women what to do with their bodies. Thank you for telling me that. They're incapable of that because they view it as weakness. And it's not. It's actually strength and humility to admit to change your position on something, or to admit that you're wrong, or to admit that I didn't see it from that perspective. Thank you for telling me that. And no matter if Trump would win at 28, 32, 36, 40, 44, and on, they would still be unhappy. Because the reality is, on the inside, they're empty. There's this hole that no matter how many times they think they won, it's just a Band-Aid. It's a temporary fix for what's really going on inside. They feel less than. They're scared by diversity. They're scared by strong women. They're scared about America that doesn't look white like them. They're scared that the majority of America is not going to be white. They're scared that there was a black president. They were terrified that there was a black woman president. Because their worldview is that's what America is. That's what patriotism is. And diversity scares the hell out of them. So buckle up, MAGA, because this country is going to progress. You haven't won anything. All this election did was it forced us to address the issue of white Christian masculinity, Christian nationalism, white supremacy, call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter if the red team or the blue team are in office. Until we address this fundamental issue with our country, we will never progress. And there is going to be part of this country, no matter what you do, no matter what we say, they are going to put their heads up their asses, and they're going to want white America. There's a chunk of this country that will never, ever, ever, ever move away from the Confederacy. And there's nothing that you and I can do about it. They're straight up racists. But for those of you that aren't completely gone in the cult and drinking the Kool-Aid, this is what America should be. And I'll leave you with this. Just remember that this country was designed to benefit 21-year-old white men only. And ever since that time, every person that doesn't fit into that demographic has had to protest and fight and sue and march and picket just to be having the same rights as somebody that looks like me. Now, I would say that is patriotic to say that. That's being an American. That's being a damn good neighbor. That is healthy masculinity. And it's also healthy masculinity to say that I'm not going to vote for a president who sexually abuses women. When are you going to be a real man and say those words too? I look forward to it. Have a good day.